Hey fellow beaders, it's JP and I've got a new tutorial for you to check out. I got another bracelet this time. So I'm calling this my Wildflowers bracelet. I feel like these little units look like flowers to me. And I did them in several different colors, but you don't have to. You can do them in any combination that you like. So let's take a look at the size so you have an idea. So to make an inch, it's about 2 of these units, give or take. So I'm not including the part of the clasp loop, but basically from this bicone till about that bicone, it's maybe a little more than an inch. And so you get the idea of how many you need. So you're going to need 16 superduos and 10 bicones per inch, let's say, just to be sure. And so this bracelet, I believe, is 6 inches for me. So I ended up, let me double check that. And whoops, it's crooked. So with the clasp, it's like 6 inches with my lobster claw clasp, or 5.5 inches. So that ended up making 9 units, and hopefully that helps you figure out bead numbers. Now let's talk about colors. So the colors that I use, so these are Toho's, and they're number 999, and I think it's something like black diamond. I will have the colors in the description box. I forget the exact color of this Toho's, but they are Toho number 999. These are Vintage Rose Swarovski bicones. This is olivine for the superduo color. This is chalk red, and this is pertrol. And again, as I said before, we'll have them in the description. And then you just need a couple of jump rings and a clasp of your choice, whatever you like. So let's get started. Okay, so to start our bracelet, what you want to do is start with the superduo, then it's going to be an 11, then a superduo, then a bicone. And then you're just going to start that whole pattern over again here, and it's going to be again superduo, 11, super, bicone, and so forth. So you want to do 4 of these patterns in total. As you can see, this is 1 set, 2, 3, and 4. And what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and tie them together, tie the ends, the thread together. And as usual, there we go. You just want to do a square knot like that, so you get this nice ring. And then go ahead and go through all of the beads once again. So just reinforce the ring. And I'm going to start with the bicone here and just make my way through the beads. This way it'll pull the knot into the bicone and get that out of the way. And continue through. So I just want to come back around and okay, so now what you want to do is just stop right before you get to that bicone, and so you're coming out of this superduo. So what you're going to do actually is just switch to the second hole of the superduo. So just go through the second hole, just like so, and then you're actually just going to go ahead and go through this superduo also. And that'll bring those superduos together. And then just you want to push all the superduos into the center, flip them in, and so, and they'll come together, don't worry. So now pick up an 11, and you're going to go through the 2 superduos here. And repeat. Pick up an 11 and go through both the superduos together. And then just keep pulling to push these into the center. And once again, pick up an 11 and pull or go through the superduos rather. And one more time. Pick up an 11 and go through the 2 superduos. And just slowly push those into the center, like so, and you have your ring. And then what you're going to do is actually continue into the 11 here. So, and you're going to add your bicone in the center. So pick up that bicone, you're coming out of that 11, and you're going to go through the 11 here on the opposite side. So the 11 is directly opposite. So, and you know, see how which direction the thread is going in. So I'm going to go through this bead, kind of keeping the flow like so. So the thread's going off to the left. I'm going to go into the bead towards the right. And this will help it pop into the center. And if this all gets loose, just tighten it up again, because that will happen, but that's okay. Now go back through the bicone. And then go through that 11. So, and if I turn it back this way, it's actually going in the same direction it was originally. And so there's that first unit. So now part of the first unit is almost done. So now what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and reinforce this outer part, which I hadn't done yet, and it's still a little loose. So that's what I'm going to do, is just help all of that get a little tighter. And that will feel much more secure once you've gotten that tightened. And so I'm going to continue through that 11, that's where we started originally, and go into the superduo also. And the piece is now nice and tight, and it should feel very good. So it should be fairly flat piece, so it kind of looks a little domed here, but it's just as you tighten it, it'll sit. And also when you make your outer ring, don't make it too tight, otherwise you'll get that little bit of a doming, but it's okay, it doesn't matter if it does dome a little bit, so either way, it should be fine. It just gives it a slightly different look, but I think it still looks good. So I'm going to switch to the other hole of the superduo and just come out of the superduo. Just like so, I'm going to pick up 6 11s. There's 3, or 4 rather, 5 and 6. And I'm just going to skip over the bicone and go into the other superduo here. Just like so. And I want that to sit, so this is supposed to be for the clasp, so I'm making the loop. And then I'm going to switch into the other hole of the superduo. And if you can, go through the seed bead. Depending on how the angle that this is sitting, you might not be able to, but or I went through all 3. So that's good. It'll seem a little tight, not because there's too much thread, but just because we're at a odd angle. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is again switch over into the other hole of this superduo because I want to reinforce this part of the loop. So I went through the first 3. I'm going to go through one more. And then I'm going to pick up 4 11s and go through the 2 middle beads there. And to get that, so now I'm going to go through the first bead in this group of 4, pick up an 11, go into the next 11, and then pick up an 11, go into this next 11 only, and one more time pick up an 11 and go into the next 11. So that's the loop for my jump ring to go into, or however your clasp is set up. And I'm just going to reinforce this. And I should be good to go now. So all right, so I've gone ahead and reinforced all of this. So now I'm just going to go down here, get through these 2, and then make my way around to the opposite bicone. So here's this bicone. I want to get over here to this side. And you can always do another loop around if you want, but that should be good. And almost there, just gotta get into the bicone. Okay, so our first unit is all done. So now it's time to pick up beads to make the next unit. And I'm gonna switch over to my blue. Superduos, or I guess they're called pertrol is the color, as I mentioned earlier. By the way, if I didn't mention it in the intro, the colors are all listed in the description box below. So they're all there. So now basically what you're going to do is pick up the same set of beads that we did here. The only thing different is that I switched the colors. And this bicone is already here, so we'll pick up one less bicone. But it's going to be superduo followed by an 11, then a superduo, and then followed by another bicone. So if you look at this, this is part of the set we originally did. So I think I'd started with a superduo, but it's the same idea. They're still going to be in the same order. So it's bicone, superduo, 11, superduo. So now we start again with bicone, superduo, 11, and superduo. So that's two sets done there. And then again, it's bicone, superduo, 11, superduo. 3 sets. And last, bicone, superduo, 11, and we end with the superduo. So there it is. And then you're just going to go through the superduo. And you get that. Now I'm going to hold off going through this ring a second time just yet. I'm going to go ahead and work on the center. So connect through to the next superduo, the 11, or go through it, I guess. I should say connect, and go through the next superduo. So keep your tension nice and tight. This is what you get. Then what you're going to do is switch into the second hole of the superduo, and you go through both superduos and then just flip them over to go into the center. Alright, so now you pick up an 11 and then you're going to go into the next two superduos. And we're just going to repeat this. So again, I'm picking up an 11 and I'm going to go into the next two superduos. Keep going. Pick up an 11. Go into the next two superduos. And one more time. Pick up an 11. Oh, not two 11s, just one. And go into the superduo, the two superduos. And just go ahead and tighten that. And there's our second unit almost done. So now come out of this 11. Oops, thread got caught there, sorry. Now you're going to pick up an 11 and you're going to go into this 11 here. So note that the thread is going up. So I'm going to go down on this side. And again, make sure you keep your tension nice and tight. Then go into the bicone. And if I said 11, I meant bicone earlier. If I said go through the 11, then you're picking up that bicone. And then you're going back through the 11, and again, you're going to go in the upward direction. And that creates a whole circle, basically, between those three beads. And then just tighten away. And so now you're coming out of this 11, so continue into the superduos. And we're going to make our way over to these two superduos. Okay, so I'm coming out of those two superduos, and actually I guess you don't have to go through both, but doesn't matter. I'm going to switch into the second hole of the superduo and go through the bicone, or the 11, then through the superduo and come out of that bicone. And our second unit is done. So the only thing you got to do now, or what you're essentially going to do, is just repeat all the steps that I did to make this second unit. And so let me do that one more time. I'm going to switch colors and use the chalk red superduo color here. And once again, you're going to pick up a superduo, an 11, and a superduo, and then a bicone, if I can, there we go. And so again, notice my set. So this bicone counts, so that's the bicone, superduo, 11, bicone. So that's one complete set of beads. And then you're repeating that pattern. So then it's bicone again, superduo, 11, and superduo. And that's number 2. And then we're going to start number 3. Bicone, superduo, 11, and superduo. So that is number 3. Set number 3, and then for the last set. So once again, it is bicone, superduo, 11, and superduo. And then just go back through the bicone. And there's number 3. And I'm just going to flip it this way because it's a little easier for me to work. Continue through the superduo, 11, and come out of that superduo there. Switch into the other hole and then go through both superduos. So you're switching to the second hole of that superduo and then just going through the 2 together. because they go together. Then pick up an 11 and go through the next 2 superduos, and we're going to push them towards the center. And then continue pushing the next 2 into the center, and I'm going to pick up my 11 and go into them. Repeat, pick up an 11, go into the next 2 superduos. And last time, you're picking up an 11 and you go into the next 2 superduos. So tighten that up. And there's our ring. Now pick up a bicone. Note that the thread is going up. So to the opposite side, I'm going to go down in this opposite 11. Go back through that bicone now. And then up into this 11 here. And I also went through the superduo. And give everything a nice good tug, so make sure there's no thread showing. And there is unit number 3. So this is a fairly straightforward bracelet to make, so I would say you're just going to keep repeating. And so what we're going to do again is continue through the beads, and then you want to come out of this bicone to start the next unit. So I'm just going to continue through my beads. And switch to the second hole. You can go into this one too. It really just, it doesn't matter. So that's what I showed you earlier in this unit, but it doesn't matter. You just want to switch over. So switch to the second hole, and then you just pop out of the bicone. And we are going to continue building the bracelet. So you notice the orientation of the bicone. You could come out of the 11s on this side to make the bicones vertical. So I have the bicones, I can't speak, going horizontal. So that's kind of up to you. I like the way they look this way. Just change it up a little bit because these bicones are horizontal, so it kind of just has that flow. But up to you, and keep going. Alright, so here I am with my bracelet just about done. I'm going to just show you how to make the loop on this side of the bracelet, just like I did on this side. So I just added on the bicone here on this last unit. So I'm coming out of this 11. I'm just going to make my way through to the other side, going through the superduos, then the 11, and superduos again. Got one more 11 here. And I'm going to go through the superduo. Then I'm going to switch to the other hole of the superduo, but I'm not going to go through the bicone. And just like I did on the other side, I'm going to pick up 6 11s. Oh, got my 6. Skip over the bicone and go into the superduo. And I'm actually just I'm gonna go a little bit further in, go through the 11 there. You don't have to, you can go through just this first superduo. Doesn't really matter. Got my thread caught there, so sorry about that. Okay, so here we are. Got the 6 superduos sitting here. I'm coming out of this superduo here. I'm going to switch to the other hole of the superduos, and I'm going to go through the 2 superduos there as I switch holes. And then I'm going to go into the 11 and just the first superduo here again. And then continue up, and then you're going to go through the first 4. So I switched to the other superduo, or the second hole of the superduo. Cannot speak properly. First 3 11s and number 4 here. Now I'm going to pick up 4 11s. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my jump ring too, and I'm going to go through the 2 middle beads here in that group, in the set of 6. So, and just go through the first 11, and you'll just have to kind of get the jump ring to move aside. Then pick up an 11. And go into the next 11 there. Once again, pick up an 11, go into that next 11. And one more time, pick up an 11, go into the next 11. You'll have to go through the jump ring first just to get it over to the other side so it's out of your way. Now I've got that 11, I'm just going to go into this 11 here, and if you can, well, let's just do that first. Alright, so I've gone through the 11, and I'm going to go through the 2 beads here, 2 middle beads, and everything should tighten into place. So, and then all you have to do is just reinforce. And you didn't have to add that jump ring on when I did. I just figured I'd save myself a step. So I'm just reinforcing. I'm just going to go back through the beads because this is where there's going to be more stress on the beads and on the thread because of the jump ring. So I'm going to go through the jump ring, get out of the way there, and going through the beads one more time. And then just go down into the 2 beads here. And I went through the superduo 2. So there's that part of it. It's all set and done. And I can go back through and around and reinforce more time if I want, but you get the idea. So continue through, and then I'm just going to tie some 1/2 knots here. So I'll probably tie one here between the superduo and the bicone. And then just go through the bicone and pull tight, so pops the knot inside the bicone, hiding it. Then I'm going to do another one on the other side of the bicone. And then continue through to the superduo, the 11, and I'm going to do one more knot between this other set of superduo and bicone here. And again, you are just going to do go through the bicone, just giving myself a little bit of space between that last knot. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna grab my thread zapper, trim the thread. And there it is. Bracelet is complete. Pretty simple, straightforward bracelet. Makes up fairly quickly. And you can do a lot of different color combinations with it. You could do a single color, or you can do what I did here with the 3 different colors, the superduos. Or you can keep the superduos all the same and change out the colors of the bicone. So many options. Well, I hope you like this, and I will see you in the next tutorial.